All right, here we go. June 15th. So I know I popped in and there was a conversation started there. Helen, I think you had a question. You just have to unmute. I auto muted everybody just so we could start the recording.
I like to take notes when you're talking, and
okay.
I'm trying to go from, you know, I can, if you show just a small screen, I can take notes. But if I put the big screen on, then the Word documents disappear, and I have to toggle, and it's difficult. And
you know how you minimize the Zoom screen?
How do you?
Up in the top corner, you've got the three buttons. The X closes it. You don't want to close it. And then there's the square. The square will minimize it, or it'll shrink it. The little underline will minimize it down to the bottom where you can't see it at all. So if you do the square in the middle, it will just reduce the size, and you can do the same thing on the Word document, and then you can have them side by side.
Okay, so if I view it in full screen, I can, and then I go to the top. I've got this view button, but the view button says speaker gallery, hide self and exit full screen. And
no, this is in the very top where the X is, where you actually close the window. Oh, right next to that, there's a little square icon.
X. Well,
he has to exit full screen to get to that point, John.
Yeah, Helene, I think if you put the chat in.
Yeah,
if you put the chat in, you're going to see the X, the two squares, and the minimize. In the right. Yeah. So that's what I was talking about, that middle square, those two squares to minimize your.
Yeah. Oh, I see the two squares. Okay.
Minimize your screen. I meant.
Okay, so.
And that way you can have both of them side by side.
Okay, so let's see. I'll go to this one. No, it doesn't work. Sorry, guys. I guess I'll have to forget about it.
All right. Well, while you're playing around with that, let me go to Linda. You got your hand up there.
Hi. So because Helene lives in Canada and she had wanted me to send her something, a product in the mail, and my store doesn't I have a Shopify store, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So and then I was trying to do it the last few days, but it seems like a conundrum. So I was just wondering because Shopify can only go so far, then they tell me get a tax person. It's like, wow. Okay. So I don't know if Helene, you can say how to do it from when you do your American product, you know.
Well, for my American products, I've got an American.
Oh, that's right. American store. Yeah.
You know, so it's easy. I mean, I've got an e-fulfillment company in Michigan that does the fulfilling. So it's because the mailing costs, it is so expensive that I have to use Amazon in Canada, or else just mail to the pharmacies that want my product, or to people who want to buy 16 tubes. You know, like I can't sell one because it's going to cost me $20.
This actually sounds like a conversation you two need to probably have privately.
Well, she can't help me. So is there anybody that ships to Canada from America?
Let me answer Linda's question first about Shopify. I'm not really sure their capabilities. I know it's probably modular based. You might have to get a third-party vendor module to plug in. Most of the shopping carts work that way. So they have the standard shipping, and then if you want to get fancy, they usually have ways to bridge that. But you'd have to check with them. I'm not really familiar too much with Shopify specifically. Do
you have to register your store in Canada?
No. I don't believe you would have to register in a third country to ship to a third country. I've never heard of anything like that.
Okay. So, okay, then I guess I'll have to figure out what taxes I need to if there are taxes, because I guess you have to pay customs.
Yeah, that would be something you'd probably need to check on legal matters about that kind of thing.
Okay, I'll
Not
have to,
familiar. Or contact Helene off, outside, and you guys can discuss that because she probably knows a lot more about that.
okay, at our meeting tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right,
Before I
Richard.
raise my hand.
Oh, it's down in the bottom where it says reactions. There's a little button there that says raise hand, or if you can't find it, you can just wave at me on the screen and I'll see you. Richard.
Oh,
Richard's waving.
Yeah. Hi, John. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. I was calling because last week we asked you about the Point Loma Homes website, and I got the login for the working site and that sort of thing. Edwin said he was going to be on the call because he knows how to explain this, and so I'm going to do my best of explaining something I have no understanding of here. He says he works with and I'm guessing the way he was talking about, maybe it's an application or a website called WordPress Engine. Is that something different than just hosting?
I'm not sure. I've heard WordPress Engine before, but I'm not really sure what it is. It might be a hosting company.
Well, the way that he describes it is that when he logs into their platform, he goes into, the way he described it to me, I would call it sort of like a green room. In other words, you log in and you don't actually go just to the website. Like if I log into a WordPress website, I'm into the website, story over. Apparently on WordPress Engine, you go into an area and you then have three choices: the active website, a production website, and an archive website. And you can choose which one you want to go into and which one you want to work with. And you can switch the active website and the production website and then pull off a thing. And I'll do that from one dashboard. And when he signs into with the login that you gave us, obviously he's just signing into the WordPress dashboard and backend and admin area. My thought was that, well, don't you do that by just
Well, Richard, I had actually answered that question. It's because your site isn't live. You are in a staging site, so you're automatically logged into the staging portion of it.
That's what we understand. We understand.
If the site goes live, I can create a staging site for you to work on the site that's not live. So you're kind of in the middle there.
Well, so what I just heard you describe though is two separate logins, one for the production site, one for the live site. Am I understanding that correctly? So two separate logins.
Correct. And then we can update the one with the other when you're ready to do that. But it's really, that's kind of an old school, type of thing. We use Beaver Builder because you can actually use Beaver Builder to do your edits, and then it has a publish mode. And you can save it as a draft, which basically means you can come back to it and pick up editing it right there without having to log into another separate site and do all of that stuff. So I can do a demo with him when he's ready and show him how to do that once you guys go live. And then you can decide if you actually want a separate staging site or if you just want to do it that way, which is a lot easier.
Okay, I think he's at the point now where he's ready to do that. Are you going to need some additional information in order to make it live? I'm guessing you need to get access to the DNS records and that sort of thing, correct?
Yeah. Whenever you take a site live, that's basically it. You switch the DNS and then it points and away we go.
That's my non-technical understanding, so at least I'm on the same page there. Could you? I went to your website and to schedule a 15-minute appointment to see if we could just handle this quickly, but it's not. You only have on there the first appointment's available a week from tomorrow. And is there any way we could get on a call sooner than that, or are you booked solid between now and then?
Yeah. You can go through the tech system. That's what the tech support is for. Those 15 minutes, that's not really for that purpose. That's for a new person that's doing a consult.
My bad. Okay, so I go.
If you put in a tech support ticket I'll get right back to you and we'll schedule something.
Okay, that's all I need to know. And I guess I got other questions, but I'll hop off here and let somebody else talk. Thanks, John.
All right, no problem. William, you got your hand up. I see you figured it out there.
Yeah, and I think you already answered my question. I go to your website and tech support, but I think I tried to join your operation, and I'm not sure that I did that successfully, but I'll ask them.
Okay. Where did you go through Alignable?
Yeah,
Okay.
they never asked me to establish a name or a credit card or anything like that, and that seemed rather unusual.
Okay. Yeah. The Alignable has a different system. You're already in their system. So when you sign up for the paid group, you're just automatically in. You get the notices for the calls every week, and all the files and stuff are in that area in Alignable for you.
So I'm already in?
Yep. But if you connect with me on Alignable, then, we can communicate through there as well. So.
Okay.
And the calls are generally Thursdays at 11 Pacific every week. And we show up here and have a good time.
Did I get a shot of bourbon in order to join in?
Absolutely. A virtual shot. It's like people giving virtual hugs. We'll give you a virtual shot. All right, Mr. Roger, what do you got for us today?
John, I'm going to actually be broadcasting. Oh no, this will work. I'll lower my hand. So first thing is the bourbon right there.
That.
It doesn't need to be virtual.
And
Okay,
Michelle
second.
looks very happy. So I can see
Yeah.
something's going on over there.
Well, Michelle's on. We were going to use her microphone. Okay, here it goes. I have a question about product naming. I have a and B choice for you and the group.
Can I hear you if I don't unmute?
Yes, because I'm on my microphone.
Yep.
Is
we
it
heard
okay?
you.
I'm going to switch to Michelle's microphone.
We cannot hear you now, Roger. I could hear her with your microphone, but I can't hear you with hers. Still not hearing you.
All right, here goes. We'll just do
Okay.
this.
Okay.
Here's my question. You ready?
Yep.
We have our names for our monthly calls, and then we're having in-person events, 2 of them. One is the focus on confidence building. So here is the name that we selected. Keep in mind the structure of these 2 events names was designed to end in our overarching business name. Our overarching business name is called Frisky Bliss.
Okay.
Okay. So what we did was we designed our name of our confidence building event from fearful to frisky, and of our skills building event, that's our second 3-day, from bumbling to bliss. And that way you end up with frisky on one and bliss on the other.
Okay.
Neat business tie-in. So from fearful to frisky. But the name we actually prefer for the event, instead of from fearful to frisky, is from anxious to all in. 3-day confidence building event.
I think
And
I might like that better.
You do like that better.
Yeah. And
So
the
from
bumbling, I don't like bumbling because no one is going to admit they're bumbling. They're like, for them to sign up for that, they have to admit they're bumbling. And that's a big hurdle.
this is a skills building event. And our other option for that skills one is from fumbling around to running the town, 3-day skills building event.
I think you got a winner there.
You like that one. It's long,
It's okay.
but it doesn't have its own name outside of the stack in an event.
It
You know,
rolls
in
off
a
the tongue, so to
sales conference.
speak.
But what we liked about the all in was this degree of I will put up with the obstacles and the arrows and I'm doing it anyway. And
Yeah.
running the town, from fumbling around to running the town, is a sense of, I don't know, Superman or Superwoman, you know, this.
I'm in charge.
Yeah, no, I like it. I see so many people that do naming conventions, and it's from their heels. You don't sell from your heels. Because when you're on your heels, you do not come across as confident. So
Explain heels.
it's like on your heels, you're kind of leaning back and you're like not sure of yourself. On your toes, you're leaning forward and you're all in, like what you're talking about. When I see sales tactics and sales copy, I refer to it as on its heels. It's like not powerful enough.
All right, let me just make sure that I've thrown in one last element, and that is talking about the first option, the one that ties to the business name. First, the product and the event and everything that we communicate will be under a brand name, not a business name. So that these customers probably won't even know our business name, Frisky Bliss. They won't even know it.
Okay.
But on the credit card statement, if they purchase our program, that's the name that shows up on the credit card statement. So we wanted to kind of get them familiar in some way with the business name, not just the brand name of the event. And so we thought the tie into Frisky and Bliss would do it, but at the cost of not being the optimal event names. What I'm hearing from you is go for the optimal event names. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You can always have the connection to the company. Like I do the same thing. I sell a lot of different products under my company. So when they get the credit card statement, you know, sometimes it's coming from Internet Dominators. Sometimes it's coming from Limbo Vision. Sometimes it's coming from Site Pop. And we have a tie-in with the main parent company, which is Limbo Vision. Most of you guys don't know me as Limbo Vision, but that's my parent company that owns everything. It's, you know, that's the one I started in 1985. But if you talk to Barbara Cunningham, if you get her to set up your credit card processing,
We have a merchant account under somebody else.
Okay, well, if you contact them, they may be able to do it as well, but they can probably set up the different channels for you that will show on the statement depending on what they purchased. So that can be helpful.
Interesting.
Well, I
Okay.
really want to be in Limbo.
That's why I don't use that just as the parent company. It's like a holding company.
We could put it in
The reason I named mine Limbo Vision was originally I was a photographer. I was a commercial photographer with a last name of Limbacher, and everyone called me Limbo. So that was kind of like everybody referred to me and knew me as Limbo in that world. And the vision was the vision that I had through the commercial photography. So it worked. But when I shifted gears and I moved into internet marketing and I got into that space, every time I would go to a conference with Limbo Vision on my tag, they thought I was an optometrist. And I'm like, okay, this is clearly not working anymore. And that's why I rebranded the internet division to Internet Dominators. Now, when I walk in the room, I'm no longer on my heels. I'm on my toes. Internet Dominators. I could be Internet Dabblers, but that would be from my heels.
But John, now you've taken Limbo and put a big banner. I think it's a 55-foot banner that everybody sees. So I don't think they're going to be surprised when that shows up.
Yeah, exactly. And that was purely from Happy Wife, Happy Life scenario. She did not want that boat called the Dominator. So it's Limbo Land. All right. Is that
Thanks,
it, Roger?
John.
That's got you. Okay, cool. Let's go to Loans with Lily. Haven't seen you in a while. or heard from you in a while. You have to unmute, Lily. Well, maybe she's in the background. Let's go to Rashid. Rashid, you are muted too.
Yes, I was.
There he is.
I forgot what I was gonna. Oh yeah,
That happens.
yeah. I was so involved in Roger's conversation. I sent you a text message earlier about, are we still doing the 3 o'clock or 3 o'clock my time, 1 o'clock your time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You had a set.
I do, but I kind of messed up. I've been out fishing. I just got back last night.
Okay.
And I realized this morning, I'm like, oh shit, it's on my schedule, but I didn't tell anybody else about it. So
Okay.
what I decided to do was, for those of you on this call here, you're the only ones that are going to know about this. We're going to, at 1 o'clock today, if anybody is interested, in the same room, we're going to be doing a special event on how to set up a Kartra membership site. So I'm gonna, and Rashid wanted one set up, so I said, let me use you as a guinea pig, and we're gonna set up his membership site, and anybody that wants to can follow along and watch as we go and learn how to set up a Kartra membership site. And it really is easy. It probably isn't going to take us that long, because I had Rashid go through and collect all the stuff that we would need to do it. So we should be able to breeze right through it. And anybody that's interested in putting a membership site together, you're welcome to sit in and watch us do that. We will record it, so I'll send out the recording as well. But if you want to be there live and see the real deal as it's happening and see me fumble through it, you're welcome to.
Yeah, John, when you say it's easy,
For
it
you.
may be easy for you.
Yeah. Well, and this is like anything else. This is like, all the stuff I'm going to show you is easy. There's nothing I'm going to do that you're going to look at and say, wow, that was really hard. Nothing. I guarantee you. There's going to be nothing hard about this. And when I say it's easy, all the pieces are easy. The thing that's hard is the fact that you have probably never done it before. And there's a lot of moving pieces, and overwhelm and confusion is probably more of what it is than hard.
John, would you say it's simple easy? I'm just curious if you'd say that.
It is actually simple easy, each piece.
I wonder why I do it. Just saying.
It's just like ACT. It's just like marketing. I don't think have you guys tell me, has there ever been anything that I showed you that you just said, oh my God, that's so hard, I cannot do it? Anything? I didn't think so. It's just you haven't done it before. And the first time you do anything, this goes back to the time you were born. The first time you do anything, every experience throughout your entire life, the first time you did it, it seemed impossible. Like when you were laying on your back and you were seeing people walking around you, as a baby, that probably looked, oh my God, that's impossible. But before long, you were doing it. And now you don't even think about it. And what is it? It's easy, right? It's a different perspective after you've done it. So before you do anything, it's going to look hard. But there's nothing hard about anything if you know how to do it. And the more times that you do it, the less difficult it becomes. And to a point where it's just like second nature. It's just a matter of, saying, okay, I got to do this. I see all these people walking. I want to walk. I need to figure this out. And, you crawl before you walk. It's steps, it's baby steps. So just like everything else in your entire life, and if you look at stuff, think about this, what would have happened if as a baby you said, that's too hard, I'm not going to do it, and you never learned how to walk? Where would that leave you? It's just the more things you're willing to take on to, to get the benefit, the more successful you're going to be. So that's my soapbox for how easy it is. Simple, easy, Tim. But that's why I do what I do, is to help you guys get up and running faster. If you can see somebody do it, like what if you never saw anybody walk? What if you were just born and there was no one around and you had no example of walking? You may never do it. So that's why I do what I do, is to give you the example of, hey, watch me walk. You'll want to do it when you see me do it. And it looks easy, and it is easy, but it's going to be hard the first time you do it, just like anything. How many of you guys made a big idea after I showed you how to do it and you said, oh, that was easy the first time? Tim's lying. It's never easy the first time, even though it's an easy, simple thing.
Hey, John, somebody wants to know how to join that second call. Are you going to stop recording this and start recording again in the same room?
Yeah. Basically, just use the same link that you got into this one. Yeah, the same room. So we'll be done. We'll probably be done with this call before 1. So I'll end this one, and then I'll just reopen it at 1.
Okay. So we're gonna leave and then come back.
Yep. Yeah. When I end this one, I'll end it. I'll kill this session. That way it'll start the processing of the recording. All right. Let's see. We've got Roger, your hand's still up. Did you still have something, or did you just leave it? Okay. Lily, are you back with us? We never got you unmuted there. All right. And William, are you good? You still got your hand up there?
Yeah, I had a question.
Okay.
So in Alignable, I'm a sponsor for a small geographic area.
Mhm.
And it seems to me, and I'm new with this, seems to me there are 3 options: announcements, products. I forget what the third one is. If I were doing something on Facebook, then they would tell me you ought to put up a Facebook announcement 3 or 4 times a week. And I tried that. Now, in terms of Alignable, what is the suggested strategy for these kinds of sponsorships?
Okay. So first off, when you're talking about any kind of a sponsorship or an advertisement or a posting, anything that's going out publicly, when it comes down to the ACT program, that's in the T part, that's in the traffic section. That's the last section of business that you want to encounter. The first section is the analysis piece. With the analysis piece, that's where you're figuring out your avatar. You're figuring out, who they are, what they want, why they want it, all that stuff. When you move into the C part of ACT, that's the creation. That's where you're creating the messaging. And what happens when you don't do those first 2 and you jump into the third section, if you don't have the market figured out of who it is that you're trying to attract, you can very rarely get the messaging right. So what happens is you're posting and you're paying for ads and you're paying for sponsorships, and you're paying to get your message in front of people before you figured out what the message should be. So in most cases, like I've worked with a lot of businesses, a lot of people, over a lot of years now. And every time they do that, they get really frustrated because they say it's not working. They say nobody's responding to my ad, or I'm sponsoring this, or I'm paying to get traffic here. I'm paying to get my messages on Facebook. I'm posting all over social media and nothing's happening. Nobody's calling me. Nobody's buying my stuff. And I tell them it's generally because either you're targeting the wrong market, or if you've got the right market, if you've got your stuff in front of the right people, you don't have the messaging figured out. You're not speaking.
I should cancel the sponsorship.
If you don't have your messaging right, then I would put it on hold until you do. I would just pump the brakes a little bit, take a step back. And if you're running the sponsorship and nothing's happening, that's probably proof right there that one of two things: you either don't have the right market, or you don't have the right messaging for them. So if it's a local business and you're targeting a local area, then you might have part of the first part right. You might have the geographical location right, but you still might not have figured out who you're talking to inside that bucket. That's where, I don't know, did you go through Sue's avatar training with us?
No.
Okay. That's like one of the first things, is like segmenting the market and figuring out who your perfect customer is. That's what an avatar is. An avatar is an ideal or representation of your ideal customer. And you have to really understand who that is, because when you start creating a website, for instance, or you start creating a product to sell them, a lot of people, they go into product creation first. So they're in the C part first, and they're creating products. And in a lot of cases, there's no market for that product. It's like, it seems great to you. And I did this. I wasted a lot of money in this. I created products around such a small sliver of a marketplace. It just happened to be the sliver that I personally was into. And I created great products around that because I was so passionate about it. But when I went to market it, I found out there was so few people that had that same interest. My market wasn't big enough for me to make any profit in. So I lost a lot of time and a lot of money doing that. I fixed it. I was able to realize what I had done, and I fixed it. I just took one step to the side and opened up a much larger market. It didn't resonate with my interest, but it resonated with my interest to make money. So I easily shifted over to that, made the money to actually do what I wanted. So I got both wins. I got to make the money to support my hobby that I like to do. And what I'm talking about here is sport fishing. I sport fish, like I like the big game stuff, like the marlin hunters and the swordfish guys. And I made a swordfish t-shirt. And on the West Coast where I live, there's probably about 3 swordfish per year that are actually caught by sport fishermen. It is like the elite of the elite. Those guys will pay any amount for it. Like they'd pay $50, $100 for a t-shirt, but there's 3 of them. So that's great. I can get them to pay $100 for a t-shirt, but I'm going to sell 3 of them. And then, then I'm done. So it was a mistake on my part because, I followed, there's guys out there to say, follow your passion. Well, I say that's great as long as it's in alignment with, a marketplace that's profitable. That's why one of the first key elements that I teach inside the ACT protocol is make sure you're basing your first piece of analysis on a profitable market segment. And the first piece of that is the market has to be big enough to justify your sales goals. Obviously, I wanted to make more than $300, so my market size didn't fit the bill. So there's really a lot to following the system. That's why the ad agencies do it. That's where I got it. Everything about what I teach came right out of the ad business. The ad agencies have been using this whole process just step by step, word for word, for 100 years or more, because it works. So, but the last thing you do is the traffic section. You figure out who you're talking to, you figure out what they want, why they want it, make sure your product or service is in alignment with that. And then you move to the messaging. And that's where I go to the why they want it. That's where, like, I'll create copy and ads and headlines based around why they want it, and that will grab their attention. And then, your marketing, that's basically, think of marketing as you're creating a sales presentation. This is how you deliver the information to that prospect to show them that you are the best solution for them, or your product is the best solution for them. That creates demand and desire. And then you eliminate any objections they might have and you make an offer. And when you've got that stuff in place, now you're ready to show it to people. Now you're ready to spend some money to get that in front of those eyeballs.
How do I get a copy of this ACT strategy or program?
It's inside, like if you bought through Alignable, you log into the members area for the group. The group is called Internet Dominators Group, and you'll have access to it. And in the right-hand side, there's a column there that says resources, and it'll say right there, click to download. And you can download the whole files, the workbook, the whole enchilada. It's all video. So it's all me walking you through each step with video. So, and it's all easy stuff. This is what I was talking about before. There's nothing in there that's hard, but every time you do something for the first time, it's going to seem hard.
Hey, William,
Yeah.
that thing, John normally sells it for $2,000. He's giving it away to Alignable.
Yeah. So if you've joined through Alignable, you've got access to it already. So. All right, Helene.
Yes, John, I'm just listening to you. And what I need to know is our sales on Amazon US, our sales on Amazon Canada are very good.
Mhm.
Our sales on Amazon US are not good. And I'd like to hire a company to sort of, because like I'm a doctor, I'm not a programmer or an advertiser. I need to hire a company that specializes in Amazon listings and Amazon advertising and so on. Do you know of a good company?
Oh, I'm
Or
going to lean over onto Tim here for a second, because I think there's a couple of people in a different mastermind group that we belong to. Tim, do you know of anybody in Craig's group that specializes in Amazon that really knows what they're doing?
I don't. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but I can put that on my radar to look for you.
Okay, yeah, I'll do the same thing. I know there's people out there, but I myself, I don't play around with Amazon that much.
I know you don't need these guys, but I do.
No, I get it. Amazon is a really good avenue for a lot of people to move merchandise.
Well, there's a program I was looking at. It's called Seller App. And there's a company that approached us called Arc'teryx. But I don't know, like whether it's worth it. I know that Seller App will require me to learn a lot of programming, and it's not my forte. I mean, I could write books on low back pain, or get rid of your shoulder pain, or of your migraines, or of your pain in the neck, or I can get rid of practically any pain in the body and tell people how to do it for themselves. But for me to create sales pitches and advertising.
Well, do you want to sell the information, or do you want to sell the products?
Well, I'm thinking I'm going to write these ebooks for Kindle, and sell the information and put some ads for QR cream in the Kindle books. You know, like that way and the Kindle books I'll sell for very little, like $1.99 or $2.99, just so people will get the ads.
Well, I'll give you a little trick from the past that
Yeah.
I used to do and recommend and all that. I don't know if it works anymore because we're going back years back. But when Amazon first got hot, a lot of people wanted to move product through there, but they found that, you know, and the Amazon listings would come up in the search engines first. And what they found was it would feature the books versus the products in the Amazon search or in the Google search. So what I told him, I said, okay, well, write a book and without the intent of selling the book, but on the cover of the book, make that your advertisement. So when that comes up first, it actually has the URL for them to click, or they don't click, they'd have to type it in. But we got, like, the guys that I gave that trick to, they made a fortune off of Amazon by using Amazon just to to put their ad in front of people. They didn't care if they sold the books, but they cared about getting the messaging in front of those eyeballs.
You are brilliant, John. Thank you.
And again, I don't know that that works anymore, but that you might give that a try.
Yeah, well, I will, and I think it's a magnificent idea.
You might also consider looking into this software I just heard about called SitePop that'll actually rank Google pages. That might be something you want to look into too.
SitePop. Okay.
I think I'm going to write a book about curing the pain in my butt.
I've actually written a paper on how to cure the pain in your butt. And it
Awesome.
works.
Step one is not get a divorce, I hope. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It works 90% of the time. Like I tested it on 62 people, and 90% of them got off that 2-minute exercise with no pain in the butt.
My first thought was, what was their name?
I'm new at this, but from what you've said so far, if I entitled a campaign to market whatever, and I titled it something like "Cure the Pain in Your Ass," if the content was worth anything, it would sell.
Well, it's
I
actually,
mean, we laugh, but think of what you've just said so far in this Zoom call.
Yeah, because it
Those
doesn't.
are words that we grab.
Yes, exactly. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with an actual physical pain.
I'm talking physical pain.
Yeah, no, I get that. But what William is talking about here is an attention grabber. It's a big idea. Like, you know, you might be in construction and there might be like some particular part of that is just an absolute pain in the ass for a plumber or a drywall hanger or whatever. And you could refer to that as, you know, ending the pain in your ass for, you know, for plumbers or chiropractors or, you know, whatever, any business that would work universally as a great hook.
Sunburn for plumbers.
Yeah, sunburn for plumbers. All right, Lily, you are back with us. Go ahead and unmute there.
Yes. Hey, John, how are you?
Good.
Awesome.
Haven't heard from you in a while.
I know I've been MIA, but I'm back. I just was traveling a lot. And I'm working on up to 3 different businesses right now. One of them is my mortgage business. And the other 2 are real estate related.
Okay.
So investing and then also funding, like kind of like, I guess you could say, private money lender, and also you know, we buy houses for cash. Like they're 2 different concepts. And my question was, since you advise us on the best way to build a website, how would I go about combining those three concepts into one, or should I just have different websites for each?
My personal recommendation is to have them all under one domain.
Okay.
Now, that said, they should all fit under the same roof, which it sounds like yours does. But let's say you were doing, loans and real estate and foot cream. You might want a second website for the foot cream, right? But if they all fit under the same lid, I would absolutely put them there. And what you can do, again, it falls back to the first step is segmentation. So above the fold on the website, I would have the three things. I'd have it sectioned into 3 columns and with a headline, a big idea for each one, and a button where they click on the one they're interested in, and then they go into that section, and then you change the language and you speak only their language in that section. That's the best way to do it. But here's another thing, and this is a lot of people have multiple businesses and multiple interests like you do. And if you're trying to do them all at one time, now you've got something that is hard. And
very hard.
It comes to a point where if it's too hard for too long, you tend to want to give up.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing that could ever happen. So my recommendation is you have 3 segments that you've identified. And you need to pick one and build a marketing campaign that actually works, because your first job is to make your first dollar, right? And I know you're probably already in business and you're already making money, but what I'm talking about is your first dollar from an actual ad campaign that is replicatable. So that's what I'm referring to as your first dollar.
Yeah.
It's like you have now got a new mechanism to print money. Even if it's a small amount of money, it doesn't matter, because then you've at least got a starting point. Before that, you have nothing. You have no starting point. You've just got a bunch of ideas and a bunch of processes going on, and nothing's really gelled yet. And if you times that by 3, that's going to make you eventually want to just throw in the towel, because you jump from this one to that one and nothing happens and you don't make any money and you get really frustrated. So to everyone, my recommendation is look at the opportunities that are sitting in front of you. Like Lily's got 3 of them sitting right there in front of her. Just go ahead and look at them in a way of, okay, which one's the easiest? Which one's going to make me the money the fastest and easiest? And just pick that one. Totally put the blinders on for a minute. Just pretend like the other 2 don't exist. And work on that one and make a marketing campaign that will grab their attention of only that person, only that segment. Grab their attention, create demand and desire, eliminate objections, and make an offer. And then put it in front of those people and see if it works. If it does, and you can easily make money by putting that message in front of those people, now you've got something. Now you can work on improving it, having it work even better and make more money. And once you get to the point where, okay, this is cool, I'm happy, then you just take that whole system and you clone it, you duplicate it, and you set it over into one of the other things that you're interested in. And you say, okay, what do I have to tweak here to talk to this person? Change the headlines, change the titles, change the big ideas. What do I have to do to now focus on that person? And then you'll have 2 of them up and running. And then once the second one's up and the second one's making money, now you got money coming down 2 pipes. Now you're going to be really excited. And it's not going to look hard anymore because you've already done it twice. And you're going to be really inspired to do the third one now. Versus the other way where you just keep getting frustrated and you wind up giving up on all 3 of them. That to me, that's the most important thing, is fastest path to cash. In business, you've got to get revenue. You know, a lot of people will play around with ideas for years and years before they do anything. And eventually, either they decide to do something or they just give up. And too many of them, in my opinion, just give up. And they say, well, it was hard. Nothing worked. And just because they didn't do anything, they didn't try anything. They just kept vacillating between ideas and not actually putting it in action. The
Yeah.
ION added to ACT is what you actually need. Action.
Okay, good. Well, that's another reminder I needed to hear, so thank you. But yeah, like you said, once I master 1, 2, 3, and so on, then I can expand, right? Like my
Absolutely.
services and my offers. Yeah.
And as far as the website goes, like, let's say you've got 3 and you still want to build a website. Get the messaging for 1 first before you start developing the website. And then tell the web developer, go, here's the contents of 1 section of my website. I eventually want 3 sections. So on the home page, I want you to put the other buttons on there and just have them say coming soon.
Oh, okay.
That way the shell is there. It's ready to go. Nobody is going to, get down on you for having coming soon on your website on a section. You're only really driving people to the website that are on the section that you're ready for anyway. And it will just alert them to, oh, she's got other stuff coming. That's really cool. They'll say, Lily's doing stuff. She's moving.
Yeah. Thank you. So about websites, there's so many AI tools now that are, well, I don't know if there's many, but I know there's a couple that help you build free, quick websites. Do you recommend those yet? Or is it best to use a professional?
I would say at this point in time, you're probably still better off with a professional web developer that's going to build the site in WordPress for you.
Okay.
Now, that said, there's probably tools out there for sure that will use AI to build a website. But the thing is, the website's only as good as the content that's on it. Don't expect that you're going to put in a single keyword like, whatever your niche is, and the website's just going to be automatically made and your marketing's all going to be done and all that. They're not to that point yet.
No.
The technology is, but the prompting isn't. It's all about the
Someone
prompting.
used to say to me, Billy, you get in this life, the stuff you get for free, you know exactly what it's worth.
Yeah.
Right. I agree with.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
She also told me in life, Billy, in life, you're going to get everything that's coming to you.
Do you find that to be true?
Yeah.
There you go. You heard it right from Billy.
I treasure those words. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. All right. Was that it, Lily?
That's all. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate it.
All
Glad to
right.
be back.
Oh, good to have you back. All right, Christian.
Hey everybody. This is my first time in the group. It's good to be here. Kind of getting a feel for how these conversations flow and when to fit stuff in and stuff. So initially I put my hand up because I had an answer for how I put it in the chat in terms of I've used several, but I found a really amazing and very quite affordable and conscientious Amazon agency that if you want, I can make a connection for you on. We had a product that was not selling D2C. We were kind of stuck and sitting on inventory, and these guys were able to get us going on Amazon and get products moving enough that we stopped losing sleep over whether we were going to move the inventory in time or not. So,
awesome.
So they were great and very thoughtful about spending. Like they're very conservative in their approaches. So, yeah, happy to make that connection if you're interested.
Is that the marketplace velocity that you've got in the chat?
Yeah, that's the guys. They're a team
Okay.
in the Cleveland area.
Awesome. Yeah. So that link is in the chat, Helene.
Yes, I'm writing it down right now.
Very, very
And
cool.
I'm also happy to just make a personal email connection if that would be helpful as well. So either way, let me know.
Okay, I'll put my email in the chat, and you can email me. Okay, Christian.
That sounds great.
Awesome. Yeah. You can probably see the questions and conversation in this are all over the board. We cover everything from SEO to websites to marketing strategies, marketing automation, business in general. You know, if I've got the answer for you, I'm happy to give it. And it's I tell everybody there's really nothing that's out of line here on the call, so you can.
Perfect.
Only bad questions, the one you don't ask.
Yes. Okay. Well, perfect. Well, I have 2 SEO related questions. One of them is I'm potentially going to be working with a client to kind of revive their SEO strategy. They've done most everything wrong, but they're now like, it's a pretty big operation. I mean, it's a large supplement company that's doing, you know, several $1 million a month in sales. They have like 500 SKUs. So it's a big kind of cleanup project, and almost every single URL is done inappropriately. So I was wondering, as I'm going, like strategically, as you're trying to clean things up and reflow URL structure to get it more optimized, and then 301ing those, is that something to worry about? That there could be damage? I mean, they're doing some ranking, but they're not like going to lose any like super powerful rankings at this point. But just curious, if you're doing bulk 301s, is that going to be a problem?
No, I don't see that as a big problem. What you want to do, the 301 is there for a reason. It's for a reason of moving content from one page to another. You know, it's almost like the canonical. You're telling Google where the content exists.
Yeah.
So there's definitely no problem with that for sure.
And speaking of that, would you recommend like manually designating canonical tags on certain posts? They don't really have a lot of duplicate stuff, but or just let Google sort that out?
No. If there is canonical there, you want to use it. That's what it's for. Like, and this is another thing. I see a lot of people that are still using www. Like they'll say, go to my website at www. That is like, and no offense to anyone that still has an AOL address, but that's like having an AOL address for email. So you don't need to put www on anything for your marketing. And if somebody does go to the website and they put www in, it should just forward them to the non-www site.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Now, I say that if you're starting out, to do it right, in my opinion, that's the way to do it. But if somebody comes to me for optimization, and let's say they want an optimization strategy, I will tell them that they want to do the canonical and direct somebody either to the non or the www site. I will actually look in Google. I'll go to Google and I'll put in site, SITE, colon, and then their domain. And what that'll do is that will pull up only that domain, every page that's listed under that domain in Google. And I look at the results and I see if they're all www, then that to me has the strength. That's the only case where I will point everything to the www. If Google thinks the www is more important, I will accept that as gospel. But if it doesn't, I'm going to tell Google, this is the right site. You've made the right choice. Boom. So whatever Google thinks, if it's close to being on the right track, I will go with it.
Okay.
I won't try and go against the grain as far as that goes. Google's a very hard donkey to pull without a rope. So, and another thing too, if you're doing local SEO and you're setting up your Google My Business site, and then you're trying to get citations for the site by listing yourself in directories and stuff, The NAP, the name, address, phone number is really important. And what I do is before I do any directory listings, I get the Google directory listing first. And whatever they say my name, address, and phone number is, that's the gospel. That is what you use. Like, you know, if you're on a drive, like my street is Mammoth Drive. So I could type that out, drive, D-R-I-V-E. Google says it's DR, capital D, lowercase r. They've abbreviated it. So that is my address. It's no longer drive, it's DR. So whatever they say, whatever they think, that's what they're going to match the citations up against to see how many people are pointed to you. If you go against the grain and you go, oh, well, it's not DR, it's really drive, or it's avenue, it's not AVE. And you think, oh, well, I'm going to teach Google a lesson here. I'm just going to do it the way I want it. You're just not going to get any credit for it. So you cannot go against those forces. You know, if you do, it's going to just take you a long time to move that donkey, you know. So take what they've got, any momentum that Google has given you, take it and run with it, exploit it, take advantage of it. So,
Yeah, can you say again that search parameter you put in to find that?
It's site, S-I-T-E, and then a colon, which is the two dots, one over the other, and then the domain name, whatever the domain name is for the site you want to check.
With a space between after the colon or not?
Nope, no spaces. Just site, colon, domain name, all is one chunk.
Got it.
And then when you run that, it'll tell you how many pages is indexed in that site, and it will show them all to you. You can scroll through the search results. And I'll just take like the first couple of pages. If they're all www, I've got my answer.
Yep, I'm seeing it now. That's super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other question I had was kind of following up on previous conversations we had in terms of backlink strategies. You had kind of teased a bit about some AI tools you guys are using to do good backlink prospecting. So I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, the best backlinking that you can get at this point is a link that is actually going to bring traffic to your site that is going to be interested in what you have to offer. Google's AI is looking at user behavior. So one of the user behaviors that they look at is how many links are going to your site. And then they take that and they have a number now for a math equation. If you have 10,000 links, they have that number plugged in. And then they say, okay, of these 10,000 links, how many people last month clicked on them across the board? And if they've got two people out of 10,000 clicked, that's going to be not a good number for you.
Right.
If you've got 5 links coming in, you know, everybody thinks the more the better. Well, the more the better is on the clicks, not on the number of links. Let's say you have 5 really good, solid links, and you've got, you know, 25 people clicking. You know, that's 5 clicks per link. Google is going to look at that as more valuable than 1 million links. Now, if the people click and they hit the site and they bounce, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So don't use clickbait. Don't send them to sites they're not going to like. If they do click and they hit that site and then they opt in and they go to another page and they get on your mailing list and they come back through clicks in your email, that is the ultimate user experience. The absolute ultimate user experience to Google is that they did a matchmake and they put 2 people together that are going to have a good relationship. That is a thumbs up in their point. And if they get that, they look at that and they say, how do we do this again? How do we do this again? And the way they're going to do that is they're going to push you up in the search results and show you to more people. It is literally that simple. They want to make matches. They want to put people together that create relationships. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's why they do what they do.
Sure.
And it's to provide a good user experience. They know if they send you to a site and you don't get a good user experience and you're not going to create a good relationship with what they provided, what are you going to do? You're going to go somewhere else. And then they're going to lose you. And you're very important to them. Every one of their customers, every one of their search people that uses them for search is very important to them because they all have eyeballs. And the more eyeballs that Google controls, the more ad revenue that they get. So when they lose eyeballs, they lose money. That's why our eyeballs are so important to them.
Can we do that with SitePop, John?
SitePop is a tool that helps with that.
Can we send people to our backlinks? I'm just trying to think this through. Send them to a backlink and then where they end up on our site? Or
you could do that. That is actually a product that could be developed. But ultimately, you want to make sure that whatever you're doing, like when we use SitePop, we're using SitePop as a piece of SEO that gets more people to see us. The object of the game is to start a snowball effect. If we can get our sites up at the top of the search and real users start coming to the sites and getting a good user experience, SitePop is going to kick off a revolution of a snowball. And it's going to create massive results for everybody. The wrong way to use SitePop is to send people to garbage, to rank garbage, because that just shoots you in the foot. If SitePop gets you to the top of the first page, Google is now going to start sending you real traffic. If that real traffic bombs out, they hit your site and they hit the back button, and that happens over and over and over continuously, you just ruined the good reputation chance that SitePop gave you. So it's not just going to make you rich. You know, it's not a get rich quick program. It's a program built for a very, very specific reason. It's to give the little guy a chance. It's to level the playing field. Because what the little guy does not have is the little guy doesn't have people searching for their brand name. And that's where the big guys have a serious advantage over us. Because Home Depot, you know, anybody in a town that has a Home Depot within 50 miles knows the name Home Depot. They know that's where they can buy all their products to service their home. So enough people have typed into Google faucet, you know, washer, Home Depot. They're looking for that. And that's a navigational search. You're not only telling them what you're looking for, you're telling them who you're looking it for from. Navigational search is very powerful. When Google's search engine sees enough of those type of signals, it pays attention. It has FOMO. It doesn't want to miss out. It says, hey, there's a lot of people that know this Home Depot place. We should probably put it on the top for everything that's related. And that's why those big brands have such an advantage over all of us. We don't have that. Nobody knows to look for our name. We're not a national brand. We haven't spent a gazillion dollars to get everyone to know us and become a household name. And Google, unfortunately, their algorithm has picked that off as a factor because of AI. AI is looking at what are people doing? Why are they doing it? Why are they looking for Home Depot? It's popular. What does Google want? It wants to be popular. It wants to go along with what's happening. That's why I say it's got FOMO. And if you understand that and you know that, it's very easily manipulated. So that's what we use SitePop for, is to take advantage of their FOMO. We feed it the signals to train it on what we want it to know. And we want it to know that our brands are popular. We want a shot at the title. And if we can get it, if SitePop puts us at the top, now is your chance. You're in the ring. You're either going to get knocked out with crappy content, or you're going to be a contender and you could stay there for a very long time. So that's what it's for. I have a lot of people that have bought SitePop over the last so many years, and they say, oh, this doesn't work. I'm like, really? It doesn't work? Or you're trying to rank crappy content? Let's get real about it. And, you know, so many people, they've got a one-page website. And I tell them right up front, this doesn't work on a one-page website. You at least need a contact page. You know, it's got to click from one page to the next to actually do what we created it to do. And one page is the bare minimum. I would not even recommend it. I would say if you have a 2-page website, you're not SEO optimized. You're going, you know, you're trying to go to the moon on a skyrocket bought from a fireworks stand. It ain't gonna happen. You know, go up 50 feet, hop, be gone. But you're not going to the moon. You don't even have a chance. So, you know, if you want to go to the moon, you need to build a real rocket and put some effort in and spend the time to get to the moon. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. But do you have other SEO?
Yeah, I mean, just following up on that backlink strategy, I'm curious, like if you've done that enough to get a feel for kind of like averages in comparison to like if a site, like if you go to Ahrefs, right, and you're looking at the keyword research and they're like this, you know, you have to have X amount of backlinks to be on page 1 based on their metrics, right? And those are just like any old links versus like these that are like highly, you know, user intent focused and feeding those signals. Like,
Yeah.
do you have any kind of sense of a ratio of like these good links versus massive amount of meaningless links?
Here's what I can tell you about Ahrefs. It's most likely looking at information of an all things are equal scenario. So if everybody's got crap content, everybody's got crap links, it's going to come down to whoever has the most crap links is going to win. That's really how that's going to shuffle out.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the reality of what could happen, though. You could have, you know, 50 sites that are all ranking at the top, that all have 1 million links. They're all garbage links, and they're all just, you know, kind of bumping each other out here and there. You got one guy that comes in, it's a brand new site. I've seen this happen over and over and over. A brand new site will come in with better content, better linking, nowhere close to the age, the authority, or the amount of links, and they will push themselves right to the top really quickly. And everybody's like, how'd that happen? I'm like, they did what Google wanted finally. That was how it happened. So I wouldn't really take that into account of, you know, looking at, oh, these guys have 10,000 links. I need 10,000 links. Because you don't. You probably need a handful of really good quality links, and focus on the FOMO factor. The fear of missing out is if Google sees traffic coming to your site from other sources, that means way more to them than most other things. The best and easiest way that you can bring traffic to your site is through links in email. You send an email out to your list and you put a link in there for something that they get to your website and they have to click and click and click deeper into the site. That is a strategy that would probably knock the living shit out of the guys that have 10 million links going to their site. Because you're showing Google, hey, people are coming in from email links. This is a real company. They've got people in the world that have a relationship with them. You know, these are not spammers. These are not, you know, this is not garbage. They look at this as a real company. So Perry Belcher, I don't know if you know him. I'm one of the guys that he calls occasionally when he's got SEO questions. And he called me on this, I'm going to say probably 8 or 9 years ago. It was quite some time ago. And this is one of the things that really brought this awareness to me of how this thing is working with the FOMO thing. And he said, hey, he goes, I need you to explain something to me. And he said, we have a brand new page on a brand new website. It's a sub page. He said, it's not SEO optimized. It doesn't even have a title tag on it. It just says, you know, something generic. And he said, we just put this thing up in a very hot niche that's very competitive. The SEO guys are paying a fortune to get this thing on top. And he said, we just put this up a week ago. And he said, it's ranking #1. He goes, I have no idea how that happened. He goes, I'd like you to tell me. And I started looking at it. I'm like, there's no reason in the world that I can see from an optimization on page perspective that this should be anywhere, you know, other than ranked at the bottom. And I kept asking him questions. And what I found out was he had a list, an email list of hundreds of thousands of people. And he had sent out an email to those hundreds of thousands of people, inviting them to this page to get some special offer. And they had to click to get the offer. And then they were sent a follow-up email that gave them another link to click to download the offer. And then that went to a page on the site, which was video that was holding them for 20 minutes. And then that went to another whole funnel. And it was a feeder page into a relationship creation. And I'm like, that's why you're #1, Perry. It had nothing to do with anything else. There was no outside links going to this site. There was no on-page optimization, and he was #1 in a very competitive niche, literally overnight.
So I guess I always think of email as just like momentary, right? And so if you start that funnel, does he have to continue to feed that funnel to continue to send that signal? Or is that somehow like, these are links now that are juiced that are...
See, once you've done this, once you've got the cycle started, now Google's going to send their traffic to you. As long as their traffic is going to have the same experience, there's no reason for them to question it. They just want to send more people to it. So it's again, it's a snowball process.
Mhm.
He created a snowball. He just didn't know how he did it. He wanted me to figure it out. And that's what I came up with. And then he was able to replicate it. He could do it again and again and again. So it's FOMO is, and nobody's talking about that. I haven't heard anybody talk about FOMO in SEO. I guarantee you, I've proven over and over and over that Google has FOMO and you can take advantage of it. So that's
John, I'm sorry I was a little bit late and missed the beginning. You guys were talking about backlinks.
yes.
Is there a way that you recommend getting backlinks? Did I miss something?
No, actually, thank you for bringing that up, because I haven't even got there yet.
Oh, right on.
So what I would recommend at this point because getting backlinks that are going to send you quality traffic is one of the things that is like, it's like the ghost in the machine. Everybody wants it, but nobody knows how to get it. And we have this little tool called AI now. So I would use the AI to do my research for me. And what I would ask the AI is, I would say, can you give me a list of the top ranking sites that are in alignment with my business, but not competitive to it? And see what it comes back with. Because what you're looking for is, you're looking for a site. Nobody that's a competitor of you is going to give you a link, right? They're just not going to do it. But somebody that's in alignment with you, and like, I'll give you an example of an alignment scenario. If you were a realtor, let's say, and you had companies that were in alignment with buying a house and selling a house. Like a perfect example is a mover. Almost nobody is going to buy or sell a house without using a mover, right? That is somebody that it's another business that is totally in alignment with what you're doing, but they're not competitive. The mover is not selling houses, and the realtor is not boxing up your shit. You know, so you have two completely separate units here, working together to get somebody what they want. That is a perfect scenario for a link. You can make a relationship with the realtor to, hey, send your people over here, put a link from the realtor to the moving service. And now you're creating relationships. Believe me, Google's going to see that. They're going to want to list you. They're going to want to push you to the top because you are creating good relationships in the world. And that's who they want to send their traffic to, because it keeps you coming back. If you got a good relationship for your mover, when you need carpet, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to go back to Google because they sent you the mover. And then you're going to need a pool man. They're going to send you to the right pool man. That's what they want to do. They want you to keep coming back. When you
So the
come
best
back,
way to do this is manually, one by one. There's no simple way like get these backlinks. These are all high PR on Fiverr or whatever. It's all garbage.
that stuff is all complete and utter bullshit.
Okay.
I mean, it might work for 5 minutes, but it's
Yeah.
not a long-term SEO strategy. It's not any kind of strategy.
So a good strategy, like I'll give you an example. We have a company, televisionsyndication.com, and we do a lot of Roku channels and Apple channels. And I thought I was going to create a directory of videographers across the country. And if you want to be one of our recommended services, you have to put a link to us on your site, and we'll put a link to you.
Yeah.
That's probably a pretty good strategy. Okay.
Yeah, that's an old strategy called reciprocal linking. So when you have a reciprocal link, that was a big thing in the very beginning. That was a huge deal. And it was overdone. It was over optimized. Google kind of saw it and didn't care for it at one particular point in time. But as long as you're not linking back to them, they're linking to you. That's the best strategy.
Oh, okay.
If you're linking back, then that's what's called a reciprocal link.
And they're not as powerful, or
They're not as powerful because they're easier to get.
got it.
If you look at it in a form of how difficult is this to get, can anybody do this? If they can,
Right.
then that's going to be more powerful.
Got it.
100%. So that's like why web hosts, you'll see a lot of web hosting companies, they build 1,000 websites a year. And at the bottom of the website, they say built by, and it links to their site. They're not putting a link out to you. They're just taking one from you. They have a built-in link building strategy. You know, it's not the best because very few people are scrolling down to the bottom and clicking on that little tiny link. You know, Google has a patent, a built-in patent. And I don't know the exact name of the patent, but I have a name for it. I call it the likelihood of a click. And their patent looks at what is the likelihood of somebody clicking a link on this internal page. If the link is little tiny down in the footer, it does not carry as much value as if it's in part of the content, as if it's bolded, as if it's underlined and colored. The more things that you have that would create a click on that is the likelihood of a click. And the higher the likelihood of a click, when the click actually happens, Google gives it more firepower.
Does it matter what page it's on? Could it be an internal page, or is a home page the best?
No, it could be any page. It's the likelihood of a click on any page. The page it's on makes no difference. Now, the more traffic that comes to the page, it just gives Google more data, more analysis to say, okay, another likelihood of a click is that it actually does get clicked. So it's just one of the patents. It's the likelihood of a click. Then there's another patent that goes into their Google rank brain of user experience. So it's a precursor to the next patent that it's passed down the line. Google is a very, very sophisticated ranking machine to cut out bullshit, filter the crap out, and figure out who really belongs at the top. And it's almost like a conveyor belt. It goes from one to the next, adding up points. And at the end of the day, whoever's got the most points is going to win. That's what it's going to come down to. Back to the strategy of looking at Ahrefs. If you're in a niche where, the conveyor belt's not picking up any points on any of the things going down the line for these 500 sites all fighting for top rank on this one keyword, whoever's got the most links is just going to win. Because that was the only points that they came up with at the end of the day.
So John, are these algorithms also applicable to Bing?
Yes, Bing follows almost in the footsteps of Google. Sometimes they're a little bit behind, but they're very much in alignment. We found when we created SitePop, we tested it on Bing and it worked right out of the gate. So that's how we know their AI behind the scenes, like what Google calls rank brain, or everybody in the industry. I don't know if Google actually called it that. I think they did, but nobody knew what it was. Nobody knew it was AI. They just said it's, rank brain, their new ranking strategy. But it was funny. Nobody actually knew what it was, what it meant, what it did. It was AI. It was the AI looking at user experience, determining who had the best content based on actual user signals, which, if you think about it, that's the hardest thing in the world to game. How do you get all these users all around the world to send you good user signals? It's almost impossible. That's why we built SitePop. It's like, that was like me laying on the floor trying to figure out how I was going to crawl. It looked impossible, but it wasn't. So me moving on it, I made it happen. Yeah, Christian.
Yeah, just one more question, and then sorry, I have to run early.
Okay, sure.
But so in this process of putting together this plan to work with these guys, I thought it would be prudent to start with, based on the Ahrefs data, like lower difficulty keywords to try to rank for. But do you think that actually matters, or should you just go for the big volume ones that are harder right out of the gate?
If I'm trying to set up a new customer for SEO, what I would recommend the keywords be is the keywords that they already have traction on. Those are the ones I know I can show them quick results. As soon as you show them quick results, they're going to have a lot more trust in you to wait the time it's going to take for you to get the big keywords up for them.
Yep.
That is plain and simple. If you do it any other way, you're going to lose them before you get the results.
Right.
Set expectations is the biggest advice I could give you in that business.
Yeah. Okay.
Set expectations that you can deliver on. And traction keywords that they're ranked on the bottom of page 1, page 2, page 3. Google already has momentum on them. All you got to do is just juice them up and up they go. And then you show them a report, say, look, we're making progress for you. They'll be happy. They'll continue to keep paying you, and away you go. So, and as far as
thank you, John. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, as far as SEO, a really exciting announcement is I haven't done any SEO training. I used to do the SEO reboot once a year, and the last one I did, I think, was 2015. And I would do just once a year. I'd do an annual event. People would fly in from all over the world to get the new SEO reboot. And like I said, the last one I did was like 2015. Well, I think 2023 is time for another one. So I'm going to come back out of the closet and do another SEO reboot. So you guys have that to look forward to. Woody, you had your hand up there. Just unmute.
Good morning. I'm here with my brother, Jetty, today. He's visiting from New Jersey.
Hello. Awesome.
So I have like an altruistic sort of question about AI in general.
Okay.
Because I know everybody is super wowed by it. Is the inevitable tool for everything. I mean, we're in a music real estate seminar giving company, and we are using it to check out all our systems, and my associates deep into it. But this is my question. I just saw one for writing a book, which was interesting. Maybe you can refer one to me. But here's the overall question, John. It's almost like I'd rather give 20 grand to someone to work AI and to find profitable things that I don't have to do shit to do. So it's essentially creating the laziest fucking culture that you can, right? Because the machine's doing it all, right?
Yep.
So let me ask you a question then. The value, like, many of us are Craig participants, the value of a book. Now, if you got the machine writing the book, I mean, you're inputting some stuff, but listen, some of these books are 50% filler. I mean, so my big question is this: is anyone going to even want these goddamn books? I mean, I can tell you something. I can tell you something. Being a musician, they can't play music like us yet.
Yeah, yet is the key word, and I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
Well, tell me, big amigo.
They can do anything better than we can. I'm just going to come right out with it. They can do anything better than we can, with the exception of instruction. Because the output of the AI, this is just like a computer. Remember when computers came in and the household computer now was in everybody's house, and it could pretty much do all kinds of stuff for you, right? Well, that was true and not. It was only true if the operator knew how to operate it. And AI is very similar. AI on its own is just a machine. It's just going to sit there until you do something with it. You're going to ask it, and that's called a prompt. So the prompt is what people better get good at. Just like using the computer programs. If you look at Windows, for instance, I'm a Windows user. I'm not a Mac guy, so I'm just going to use Windows as an example. If you use Mac, just replace Windows with Mac. The computer itself, to me, is virtually worthless because I don't write computer code and I'm not a computer geek. What makes the computer really good for me is programs like Excel, Word for Windows, in the web space, WordPress, Beaver Builder. I'm not writing code to build websites. I'm using those programs. Somebody spent the time to sit down and code the prompts in there for the machine to do what I wanted from my simple instructions. And that's what AI is. AI is the machine that will take your simple instructions and output magnificent things. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be music, it could be books, it could be poems, it could be love letters to your wife. I don't care what it is, it's going to be better at it than you are. As long as
AI has been around in the aircraft and automotive industry for almost 50 years. We've used it, and it's been a wonderful technology. But
as long as you know how to prompt it.
Give me a break.
Yeah, as long as you know how to prompt it. And that is going to be the key. That's where skill set is going to come in. Like AI is going to replace a lot of jobs in the future. There's no doubt about it. But like I've always said, when a door closes, a window of opportunity opens. It's going to replace the songwriter. But who's going to be the songwriter? It's going to be the guy that prompts the AI to write the song. So the job position didn't disappear, it just changed. It made the songwriter more productive. Now a songwriter can come up with 50 songs in the time he could have done one if he just learns how to prompt the machine to do it.
I can't buy what you're saying. I really can't.
You don't think that's true?
What?
Oh, I've been using it for many decades. That's
The
not.
problem, the reason AI can do what it does is it just flat has more data, full stop. You don't have in your head, nor will anybody ever be able to have in your head and have ready and immediate random access to all of the information ever published on the web, period, the end. They can write you amazing amounts of content about a subject that you did not even knew existed. I was going through the SIC codes recently, trying to sort through to find my businesses, John. Do you know that there is a specific SIC code for badminton birdie winders? The guys that wind the feathers on the little thing for the birdie for badminton. Did you even know that was a thing? That's a job? Go to AI, say, write me a dissertation on how to correctly wind a badminton birdie. And it'll give it to you. So tell you where to market it, tell you who's interested in it. There's no way we can flat catch up with that information. And you say, write a song, they're going all the way back to, the ancient Indian sitar music and feeding that into rock and roll along with the Irish, foot dancing that they do, and they'll write you a song and you don't even know what that stuff is. That's why it can do it. It just has access to more information than people can have immediately. And that's the key. That's the why. It's not magic. It's not anything. It's just how much data do you have and how accurate it is. Period. The end. That's it.
John, just to ask you a quick question. Yes, it's a segue. So we have something in common in that I am an artist also, and that's the business that I'm trying to create. Can I get anyone with this membership? Can I get any one-on-one time to look into some of your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And Allie is on here. She's an
Allie's an
artist
artist
too.
on
here. She's been with us for years and years, and I'm sure she could probably tell you I'm right about this whole AI thing in art, in music, and in anything. And I know you've been working with AI systems for what, 50 years or whatever. I gotta tell you, they're a little more up to date now. The stuff that is coming out now versus probably what you're used to, it's light years ahead. And what's happening, you've got a convergence of two technologies coming together, which is AI and the thing that was never around that AI requires to really run at full capacity, which is quantum computing, which is horsepower. That's what Richard was talking about. If you take the machine and you actually give it like it was an engine that was thirsty for gasoline and there wasn't enough, so it was just kind of gulping and gasping along for all these years. Well, now you're putting a fire hose of fuel into the thing and really letting it run at what it wants to run at.
It's John, it's the Henry Ford thing. Whether you believe it will work or it won't work, you're right.
Exactly. No, that's totally true. If any of you guys follow me on Facebook, take a look at the post I posted this morning. You're going to laugh out loud. I guarantee it. It's about the lion. It's a metaphorical story. It's awesome.
Okay, just to put closure to my question though, should I try to contact you or this other gal?
If you want to talk art, Allie is here in the group. You can connect with her. I'm sure she's happy to share whatever. If you want to talk about marketing of anything, that would be me. That's my.
So what do? I go to your website and put a text message in asking?
Yeah, if you go to internetdominators.com, there's a thing right on the homepage there. You can schedule a 15-minute private consult.
Okay. And you promise you're not going to start a conversation about AI?
No, it's whatever you want. It's for you. It's anything you want.
Hey, Paul McCartney and John Lennon are getting back together because of AI that was released this week. Hey, I just have a quick question about SitePop, John. A lot of these phones are driving me out of my mind. They constantly are becoming disconnected and rebooting.
Yep.
Any tips on which phone's better, or I don't know, something I'm not doing right?
They're, for the most part, they're the cheaper phones that do that. They're the ones that you can get for 20, 30 bucks. And what's happening is those phones are single channel phones. So if an alert or anything comes up in the middle of SitePop doing its thing, which SitePop runs all the time. So if you get a weather alert or anything at all, it's going to break the connection, and then you got to restart it, which is a real pain in the butt. So what I wound up doing is going in and just removing almost every app off the thing I could possibly find.
Good
turn
idea.
off all notifications. And then the other thing is, some of them, if they go into sleep mode, or even if the screen goes deactive, that will disconnect them as well. So I installed one app that's called Screen On.
Yep, I got that.
Keeps the screen on live. There's also a developers mode in the thing that has some things that you can toggle on and off. There's a tutorial in the membership area about that.
Okay.
That's something you can do. That solved a lot of them, but it still happens from time to time, and I can't figure out why. Another thing, if you've got a bunch, like I've got, probably 80 phones sitting over here next to me.
My wife would kill me.
I still have some of them, the cheap phones, you just can't figure them out. They're all different, even the same varieties. They've got different apps on them and stuff. And some of them, I cannot figure out how to turn the little noises off. So they're beeping and humming, and it just drives you nuts. Now it's like having a cuckoo clock. You don't hear it anymore, but your guests hear it. But the other thing I've found that if I connect too many phones to the same Wi-Fi, that the Wi-Fi can't support the number of connections.
Got it.
And so what I got over that is Wi-Fi repeaters. So I connect the Wi-Fi repeater to the Wi-Fi, and then I connect, a handful of devices to each Wi-Fi repeater. And that kind of bridged that gap for me. But I don't know that there's any way to completely solve that problem. They do require a little bit of, annoyance from time to time.
Is it better to do mobile, or like I have a capability of doing multiple virtual machines?
You can do that. We've got some people running, multiple virtual machines too. As far as the network, as far as the health of the network itself, the more real devices, the better, and the more mobile devices, the better. So we do encourage the mobile devices, but if you've got, like, let's say you've got a customer and they only have one phone or whatever, and you're going to offer to run another phone for them, you could set up multiple, virtual machines for that. I had
any possibility down the road having this all encompassed online where phones wouldn't be necessary? Is that not possible because of IPs or?
It's really not possible. If you get somebody that's selling you that kind of software, that's a sham. You need real devices in the universe to make this thing natural. That's another thing Google's really good at, is identifying things that are not natural. And,
So using a VPN would not be good, or?
No, you do not need a VPN. No, we don't. It's not going to hurt it. It will still work, but we don't encourage it. Most people don't even know what that is. Like, most of your customers are not even going to know what a VPN is. And it's not necessary, not required. It's okay, but it's not encouraged. In fact, I would discourage it. Because
it's easy
if I had a customer in the UK, I'm in the US, and I wanted to set up a virtual machine that ran off a VPN in the UK, would that be better? Or
it's not a problem. Like, where the customer is physically is not it doesn't have any correlation whatsoever to where your device is to support that customer. Like if your customer's in the UK and you're in New York City and you put 2 devices in your office for him in New York City, there's no correlation to the devices that are going to be sending him signals. It's just you're providing 2 devices to the network. The network is going to go out, it's going to find his location, and it's going to find the devices that are closest to him to send those signals.
Okay, so they're the ones sending the signals, not me.
Correct. Your phone is not the one sending the signals to your projects. They might be, you know, mixed in the group, but they're not dedicated to your projects by any means.
Yeah, John, my phones are sitting right here. When the first thing I do in the morning after turning on the computer is check to see which ones have gone offline. And when I'm done at the end of the day, I just check to see which one's gone offline. And there's rarely a day where I don't have to put one or more of them back on AM and PM. They kick off because I've got the $25 phones. I got all the apps stripped off and force stopped and all that stuff. It doesn't make any difference. They still go to sleep and whatever. And so that's just, you know, getting up, brush your teeth, check your phones before you go to bed, brush your teeth, check your phones, you know.
Yeah, I got up this morning and my whole thing was off. They were all off. And I'm like, what the hell? And it had to have been some kind of a service interruption in the middle of the night, you know. Probably the internet went down or something. None of them could communicate. And so I had to plug them all back in. Like that was a pain in the ass. But you know, I mean, when you talk about how much work that is compared to the old school doing SEO, hey, I'll click the button all day long to turn the phones back on, you know. It just never ceases to amaze me, people that will cancel a service because they've got to click a button every once in a while. I mean, they just get outraged, like this should all be automatic and ranking should fall from the sky and you should never have to do anything. And I'm like, okay, if you got something better, you know, let me know. I'd love to use it.
What is the strategy, John, for, I feel like I'm kind of shooting in the dark for the number of phones I'm using for the amount of visits or traffic per month? Can you give me some suggestions on how to base that?
Sure. We recommend that you use at least 2 phones per project, and that gives you 500 searches per month. Now, if you're shooting at a brand new site, that is not too much. Like some people say, well, that's too much for a site that I'm just putting up. That's not true. It's only about 16 searches per day. That's not like going to show up on anybody's radar. If you've got really competitive keywords, the strategy would be to put less keywords in the mix so they get hit harder. Like if you've got 500 searches per month and you only have 1 keyword, you're getting 500 searches on that 1 keyword.
Got it, right.
If you've got 3 keywords, you know, and you're splitting it between the 500, you know, you've got less. You've got 5 keywords, you're only getting 100 searches per month per keyword. That's not a lot. 100 a month, that's like 3 a day. So looking at, you know, if you were going to go and your strategy was to rank this ultra competitive keyword and that's all you cared about, and you wanted to know how many searches you needed to get that ranked, it would be about 40% of the total search volume per month is where you would need to be. You'd need to be about 40% or more. So if there was 1,000 searches per month on a keyword, you'd need about 400 to hit it. And again, keep in mind that this part of it is only one part of the algorithm. You've still got the on page, you know, if you've got crap on page, you're losing points over there. If you don't have good link building and you don't have, you know, other stuff going on, you're losing points there. If your content's crap and you've got a shitty user experience, you're losing points there. So being equal on those searches you're providing to the network is not going to make up for that. So if other things are equal, that will beat it all day long. If other
need to
things
have
are
a good-
less than, you might not need that much to beat it. So there's no real way to say how much of anything you're going to need for SEO, because there's just too many factors at play. But you just play around with it like anything else with SEO. You know, you do something, you measure the results, you decide what to do moving forward, you adjust the strategy, and you keep moving to optimize it to the top. That's why they call it optimization. It's not automation. There's no search rank automation. It's simply optimization. So, all right, Tony, you got your hand up there. Let me take that one and then we'll wrap up for the day here.
Hey, John, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
Hey, a question, kind of an old school thing here. Do you have a recommended provider for like virtual phone numbers, like what you put on like direct mail to be able to track effectiveness of direct mail? You know, you got a unique phone number for a unique postcard, for example.
I don't, but the guy that I know that does a lot of that kind of stuff is Peter Drew. He does a lot of black hat technology and SEO. He's got systems like that. You might reach out to him.
Twilio is the one that does the phone numbers. They're $1 a month for a phone number, and they're all trackable. And then there's another I forget what his last name, Paul, is. He has I'm having a senior moment here. Don't remember what it calls, but he has it uses Twilio numbers, but every time that phone number is called, it will log it, and you can actually hook up a billing to it. So if you're doing a lead gen for a company, so I'm not charging you anything for lead gen, I'll just charge you $35 for every lead that shows up. And what it will do is you then put that phone number in. Every time the phone number rings to that, it bills them the $35 at the end of the month for each call that came in. But you know, so there are things out there, and but Twilio is the one that gives out the phone numbers, and it connects with Zapier, which means it connects with everything else.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I got that other call here starting in about 5 minutes. If any of you guys are interested and want to see me build a membership site live, we'll be doing that in about 5 minutes in the same room. I'm going to close this room now so it starts the processing of the recording for this call, and then I'll just open it back up. But you guys are all welcome to hop in there and watch me build out Rashid's membership site if you want.
Just very quickly, John, I saw in the email there was site pop updates. Did I miss that earlier?
No, that's actually happening later today at 3, and it's basically a lot of the new people didn't see the updates from before, so it's
okay.
We'll be covering that one later.
Eastern time. What time is that? That's what I thought this was.
Eastern would be 6 p.m.
Got it. Okay.
So 3 p.m. Pacific.
Got it. All right.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for showing up. Another great call. And we will see some of you in 5 minutes and some of you next week.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Bye, everybody.